We at Now Media are extending our prayers to those people affected by the horrific fires in LA County, in LA. And as a leadership gap is being so exposed amid the Los Angeles fires, it is with sadness and also with empathy as we watch the horrors of what these Santa Ana winds and these fires are causing. These devastating wildfires in Southern California have left over 1,000 homes destroyed and displaced 100,000 residents, highlighting critical gaps in leadership and preparedness. As the fires erupted, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass was attending a presidential inauguration in Ghana. By the time she returned, significant damage had already occurred, prompting widespread criticism. Residents like Michael Gonzalez, whose home in Pacific Palisades was lost, cited inadequate communication and preparation from the city officials as major failings. Fire warnings had been issued days earlier, yet alerts from the mayor's office came only after the fires had started, exasperating public frustration. Mayor Bass defended her actions upon her return, emphasizing that the disaster resulted from unprecedented weather conditions and that her administration had taken precautionary measures, such as filling water reservoirs. However, critical water shortages during the firefight raised questions about the city's infrastructure and readiness, as well as the electrical grid and the fact that they have a very antiquated electrical line system. Hydrants in hard-hit areas like Pacific Palisades ran dry as water demand surged to 4 times the normal rate. Critics, including former mayoral candidate Rick Caruso, deemed the response a systemic failure, pointing out that weather forecasts had predicted the risk of such devastation well in advance. The incident has sparked broader concerns about crisis management in Los Angeles. While Mayor Bass maintained that she acted as quickly as possible, critics argued that her absence during the early stages of the fires represented a lapse in leadership. The water supply issues further underscored deficiencies in the city's emergency response systems. As officials work to replenish depleted water tanks and assess the damage, calls for improved infrastructure and preparedness strategies are intensifying. This disaster serves as a grim reminder of the importance of foresight and decisive leadership in mitigating the impacts of natural catastrophes. I, for one, can tell you, living in Florida, especially in Southwest Florida, where we have been devastated not once, not twice, but we've had 4 Category 5 plus hurricanes affect our area. We are aware of the strategies and necessities of proper planning, and thanks to our current governor, Governor DeSantis, he has always implemented and had in place those uh, emergency personnel and resources at ready. The Santa Ana winds are a yearly occurrence, but what happened now is that there is a Category 2 fire hurricane. That is what is happening. And the residents are describing harrowing escapes from the fires, with some narrowly avoiding death as flames overtook their neighborhoods. Emergency shelters are overwhelmed, with displaced families seeking refuge wherever they can. Stories of resilience and heroism have emerged, but the emotional toll is immeasurable. The fires have reignited debates about the state's preparedness in response to recurring natural disasters. Communities are calling for more robust prevention measures and better evacuation protocols to protect residents in future crises. And as scientists are pointing to climate change as a primary driver behind the intensifying fire seasons due to droughts that are being realized in California, the rising temperatures and prolonged droughts have created the perfect conditions for wildfires to thrive. California's geographic vulnerabilities further compound the problem. Experts argue that immediate action on climate change is critical to mitigate future disasters. However, there's also the greater issue in that the California government has basically tied the forestry division from being able to take preventative measures such as controlled burns that would allow burning of certain areas to remove debris and dead trees and kindling, or even going through and cleaning out the debris because of the environmentalists in California staging protests. And so there is no deforestation. I get that. However, you have to have certain mitigating efforts done. That is why other states in this nation that have mountainous foresting areas do not have these type of wildfires or effects. In fact, Florida, we do have wildfires. However, they are mitigated because there are controlled burns. They have active forestry efforts to make. And these are some of the policy changes that people are crying out for. And as the federal and state governments have pledged aid, with President Biden approving disaster relief funds for affected areas, local officials face sharp criticism for their lack of preparedness, particularly Los Angeles. Calls for better coordination between state and federal agencies have grown louder. Lawmakers are debating the role of prescribed burns and otherwise preventative measures as part of the comprehensive wildfire management strategy. Needless to say, there is much. I mean, our hearts all go out to those families, those people, those business owners who are losing everything. When you are seeing even museums that are now being threatened, where they're holding great artifacts and arts and the homes of people, I, for one, can tell you I empathize for that. I mean, I cannot even fathom the fear of having fire surrounding you. But the one thing that is holding true is that people rise to the occasion. And we have been witnessing time and time again, neighbors, people who are famous out there on the streets, helping their fellow neighbor, helping to not only save homes by throwing water on roofs, but make sure that individuals are escaping these fires. Because though it is a tragedy of what is happening, and to lose one's home, what's most important is that your loved ones, family members, friends, your fellow community members are safe and able to evacuate safely. And once this devastating wildfire is contained and put out, there will be another issue for these Californian families, in that many of the Californian families do not have insurance for fire, because it was just a few years ago that there was a huge wildfire that burned through tens of thousands of acres and brought devastation to communities. As our insurance industry is really on the brink, homeowners insurance is on a brink of calamity, because after you've had the devastating hurricanes that are still affected so many people in North Carolina, Tennessee, Florida, now you have these great wildfires. It is up to us as a nation, and it's not, again, a we versus them, or, oh, yes, look at California, it's getting the money. No, this is about the United States of America pulling together to help those that have been affected by natural disasters. And it is also a key time to put pressure on Californian authorities, the politicians, your supposed leaders, to realize that they must put into effect a better plan. Because as we can realize, and there's warnings for hurricanes and other disasters, there too is warnings about wildfires, the drought, the Santa Ana winds, the fact that there are still those old-fashioned light poles with electrical lines that are downed. It is time for that to be, because we are in a better era. There is a way. And yes, climate change has occurred. And so it is something to look into. What more can we do to prevent this from getting even more out of control? And to hear the brave, and let's applaud the brave men and women that are the firefighters and the emergency personnel and the police that are on the line, putting their lives on the line to putting out these fires, or even at least at this point, not even put out the fires, but to get people into safety, to save lives. But those heroes are the ones that we should be applauding, and also realize that they are not at fault if the hydrants do not have sufficient water. There's not enough water to pump out. That is not on the fire department. That is the city, that is the county, that is the state. So when you see a heroic fireman or EMT, thank them. Even if it's in your locality and you're in Texas, you're in Louisiana, you're in Florida, you're in New York, wherever you may be, and you see someone, just remember that their brethren are putting their lives out, that they're the ones who are risking everything and potentially not going home to their own families, or not being able to even save their own homes, because they are also residents of these communities. And this isn't about, oh, those in Malibu get it because they're the rich. No, these are families losing their homes and their businesses, and we all have to pray that they are able to contain and extinguish this wildfire. I am Alina. I'm going to take a quick break, and we will return with news of the Trump inauguration and his grand vision that seems to be going to Greenland. Tune right back in. Give me a minute.